Good morning. I'm Mayor Dave Seaman, and I've got the pleasure to open up this branding overview. Many of the people in this room have got a big stake in Tinley Park, emotionally, financially, family-wise, so we're really pleased to be here because this, I think, will be a new beginning. With me today, I've got a number of our board members. We've got TJ Grady back here. We've got Jake Vandenberg, Brian Yonker, Kevin Suggs. I think that's it. But in any case, I do want to appreciate your being here for what I see as a kickoff event. I think this is going to really help put Tinley Park on the map. I think it's going to help take the good things we do and basically get our message out even more. And I think that's the trick here. I think Tinley Park does a lot of great things, but we don't always say what we do, and we don't always get that word out for those good things. So with that, I'd like Roger Brooks to kick it off. We know Roger. He's worked with the Village before, and we're really looking forward to this next level. Roger, thanks so very much.
Thank you, Mayor. How is everyone? Good? So we're going to have some fun this morning. You know, a year and a half ago, we had the assignment to come into Tinley Park and do an assessment where we secret shopped you for a week. Did any of you attend that? No, a few of you? Okay, good. And it was kind of a tell it like it is from the eyes of a first-time visitor. So this process has been going on for at least that long. Then we've been invited back to really help define what does Tinley Park want to be known for besides the two metro stations and your location. How do you take it beyond that? And that's what this is about. So I'm going to dig right in, and we're going to talk a little bit about why Tinley Park is even doing this. The first thing we did is have people sit down, and we worked with a brand team, and I'm going to introduce them shortly, to figure out what is it that we really want this thing to accomplish, because branding is always a means to an end, to accomplish whatever your goals are. And as a community, the number one goal was to reduce the leakage of locally resident income being spent elsewhere. When we asked people, where do you go to hang out? I don't know how many times we heard Orland Park, Chicago, Frankfurt. And wouldn't it be cool if you could create a way for Frankfurt, but we even heard people going to Rosemont. Wouldn't it be cool if all those people where you're heading were coming here? And that reduces leakage. And by the way, just like business, if you leak out more money than you have coming in, guess what? You don't stay in business. That applies to cities, towns, villages as well. The second goal of this is to create a sense of community. And one of the challenges you have, and this is typical of bedroom communities or suburban communities, is that we're really engaged with our local neighborhood where we live and with the schools, but not necessarily with the community, because every morning get up, we head to Metro and we head into Chicago or wherever, or we commute out on 8057. And so we need to do something that would get the locals to want to hang out here in Tinley Park. And then number three, to recruit and support existing businesses that reinforce the brand that you're going to see. And I'm going to explain what that is shortly here. And then number four is to bring the communities together. And I alluded to that in just a couple seconds ago. But this is really about creating a sense of community. Because there are a lot of people that live maybe on the west side that use the train there, and they're not so oriented into downtown Tinley Park. So it's even bringing out those outlying areas. So this isn't just about downtown. And then the fifth goal of this is to create a brand that can help you grow with businesses, maybe new residents, and even tourism. That's what the convention center is here. But if they come to the convention center, how do we get them to spend more time and more money in Tinley Park? And so those are the 5 primary goals of this entire effort. So what we've been working on for all these months is to try to figure out, so will this do that? And when it comes to branding, there are 2 kinds of brands. There's the feel-good generic community brand that is the most overused words in the United States, a great place to live, work, and play. More than 4,000 cities, towns, and villages use those very words. It doesn't set you apart. And I'll bet you every single one of the 62 towns in Chicago Southland would say the same thing. Okay, maybe most of them. But this is about economic development brand. Because you know what? Your board, your trustees, their job is to improve the quality of life for its citizens. And when you can improve the quality of life for your citizens, you succeed. But to do that, it takes money. And I hate to say it, at the end of the day, how do we get more money so that your board as a community can do more things for you as residents? And this is the same thing in business. If you import more than you export, you win. And so here's the 10 things you need to know about branding. Because branding isn't about logos and slogans. As a matter of fact, it's the art of differentiation. What sets you apart? And by the way, in Illinois, there are nearly 1,160 cities, towns, and villages. What sets you apart from the 1,159 others? What sets you apart from the other 61 right here? And that's what branding is. What sets you apart? How do you stand out from the crowd? Number 2, it's a perception. When you tell people, no matter where they live, oh, I live in Tinley Park, what do they say? Do they say, where's that? Then they have no perception. They say, oh, I know where you're at. We don't know. It's what people think of you. And how they're created is number 1, visual cues. When we're coming down 80, 57, when we're coming through the area, what do we see? And fair or not, people judge the book by the cover. It's the people and attitudes. So if we attend a concert at the amphitheater, or we're in downtown, or we're at a local hotel, make judgments about you based on the first people I meet. And then word of mouth, what's read about you, what is said about you, what's in the news. And then social media, and by the way, these two are pretty much the same. That's all word of mouth. That's how perceptions are created. And then number 3, logos and slogans are not brands. So for you that said, oh, okay, we're going to see a new logo today. Yeah, but you know what? If you didn't change your logo, it's really not going to make that big a difference. We do want it to reflect what you're about. But at the end of the day, have you ever said, wow, I really want to head down to Ottawa because they have a really cool logo? Or have you said, yeah, I really don't want to go over, I don't want to pick on a town name. I don't want to go to that town because I think their logo sucks. No, logos and slogans are not brands. They make up 2% of a brand, but they always get the attention. I guarantee people in Tinley Park say, well, we saw that new logo. I don't really care for it. I really love it, or whatever it is. They're going to focus on that when at the end of the day, it's only 2% of a brand. I mean, do you say, whoa, I'm only going to buy Reeboks because I really like their logo better than the Nike swoosh? No, you judge it on the product, not the logo. Or do you say, you know what? I really like Chevy. Or you may say, you know what? I like Ford a whole lot better than Chevy because they have a better logo. No. Same thing with this. You say, well, I drink Coke because I like red better than blue. We always judge it on the product, not the logo. And number 4, you never use focus groups. We had worked with a brand team that I'm going to introduce. They were not a focus group. We never tried to build a consensus at all. We did try to say, well, which one of these ideas did you like the best? But we had some debates, but you know what? Not a focus group. Number 5, a brand evokes emotion. Wow. If you can get people, you see pictures of Hawaii and people go, wow. And it evokes emotion. We want to do that. And number 6, successful brands are built on product, not marketing. That's what I was talking about with the logos. And number 7, you never roll out a brand. It's earned. So even today, we're not rolling out a brand, and the mayor said we're showcasing it. We're showcasing what we want Tinley Park to be known for. And by the way, when you see it, Tinley Park has the foundation, but there's still work to do before you're going to actually own it. And you're going to see that. So we're not rolling anything out today. And number 8, you cannot do branding by public consent. It doesn't mean we don't ask, and we did. But if you try to do something that everybody will agree to, you're going to water it down. You're going to end up with a great place to live, work, and play. Or we have something for everyone. Have you ever gone anywhere that had something for everyone? We don't. We go where there's something that caters to us. You cannot let local politics kill your branding efforts. I love this quote. A byproduct of brands for the people is the committee that compromises and kills a potential brand home run. This is why you never see statues of committees in public parks. You see brave leaders. You know, and by the way, even though the village took the lead, the village funded this, the group we worked with really represented the private sector. As a matter of fact, if we tried to do this top down, this is what you would end up. This is the typical public project. First of all, there's enthusiasm. Yeah, we really like that. That's really cool. This is going to be so fun. And you start doing all the planning, which we've been doing this week and we'll be doing over the next 90 days. Then there's disillusionment as somebody comes out and says, I really don't like that idea. I'm a chamber member. I pay my dues, but I don't like that direction. And then there's fear and panic, search for the guilty, punishment of the innocents, and finally, praise and honors for the non-participants. Did I get that about right? Here's why it can't be top down. Your board, your trustees, were elected to be all things to all people. Brands can't be. You have to find your niche in the marketplace. So don't put them in that position. I even told the Tinley Park brand team that what you want to do is go to the board and say, you know what, we picked a brand and all we need is your help to implement it where it's appropriate. Don't put them in that position. And so there you go. Number 9, you build your brand on feasibility, not just local sentiment. So we took all the ideas that came from you and we said, which one of these is most feasible? Which one will accomplish those goals? And then you build your brand through public relations. Advertising used to maintain your ownership position. So once Nashville owned the country music brand, Anaheim owned the kids and family brand, or Orlando. Once they own it, they can advertise it because they already own it. But to own it, it's word of mouth, it's public relations, it's what's written and said about you. And there's only 3 killers of this branding effort. There's never 4. The first one is local politics. And by the way, it's worse with membership organizations than it ever is with elected officials. And then lack of champions, and then lack of money, both public and private. By the way, the best brands in the United States were built in private sector development. Nashville and country music, Napa Valley and wine. I mean, you know, Lancaster, Pennsylvania and the Amish. It's all private sector. So this is in yellow for good reason, because if you have the right champions that will never say no, never take no for an answer, they will get through the politics and they'll find a way to make it happen. Every time. And so what's happened over these last several months is the Tinley Park brand team has gone through a 13-step effort. Sounds like AA, right? Gone through a 13-step effort to do this. And we're going to walk through it. The first thing that we did is put together a brand development team and outside facilitator. By the way, we're the outside facilitator. This brand that you see came from Tinley Park, not from us. We are not consultants, we're facilitators. You can't have somebody come from the outside and plop a brand on Tinley Park and then say, see you later, and expect it to stick. So we learned early on that we have to help you. We can play the devil's advocate. We can help you through the feasibility. But this is a brand that came from within, as you'll see. And this is our brand team. These are the people picked. And by the ones that are in blue represent the private sector. And yes, we needed the village to be involved because guess what? Some of these projects require the village to write the check. And so this is our team, and I would like them to stand up, if you don't mind. They're all wearing little badges. You'll see that there. And we even had other people from the village and from concerned citizens sit in on this. One thing I want to mention about them. We got here, first of all, they've been working on this for 1.5 years. We have had many phone calls that lasted an hour or 2 with them, conference calls. But you know, we got here Monday. They met with us for a couple hours on Tuesday morning, a couple hours Tuesday night. a couple hours Wednesday morning, a couple hours Wednesday evening, a couple hours yesterday morning, and 2 hours last night. And you know what? They did not get paid for it. Now, you may say, well, they're village employees. Sure they did. You know what? This was things they had to do on top of their normal job. And so when you have people coming here and spending this much time, it tells you how much Tinley Park means to them. Because this was all additional work, and they put in a tremendous amount of time and effort working through this process. And it's not easy. And by the way, they're not done. They're still going. So once we put the team together, there was an online questionnaire that asked the question, that said, this is your chance to weigh in on Tinley Park's future. And what's really fun is 780 people weighed in. Plus, we interviewed more than 60 people. We reviewed a lot of the village's plans and studies. There's as a village, you've done a lot of them. We had to find out the best of all of those. And then, you know what? And then more than 100 people attended our assessment. I came back and did a branding workshop where my plane was 2 hours late. Some of you remember that. And then we've met with many people this week. Now, this is that questionnaire printed out. Look at this. And by the way, we asked lots of questions. I'm going to cover a couple of them. This is single space with tiny type. I can't even read without reading glasses. And so there was no multiple choice. It allowed people to speak their mind. I mean, this here is 141 pages long, single space, tiny type. We did listen. And the team had to read through all of these. And some of the responses were pretty hilarious. Some of them were downright ouch. But most of them were very, very good. And so, what was fascinating is that 92% of the people that weighed in actually live in the village of Tinley Park, which was really cool. Usually you would get more of the surrounding communities to weigh in. And so that was awesome. We had about 35%, 34% were under 45, which we were glad to see. We want the young families and the young people to really speak up. Over 45 was 66%. I wish it would have been more 50-50, but this is typical. And then women, 66%. Perfect. Here's why. Women account for 70% of the decisions of where we're going to live, where we're going to work. Guys are already going, yep. Okay, women account for 80% of all consumer spending. I'm waiting. Usually somebody says, that's all? And they make 70% of the decision where we're going to travel. And by the way, women will pass on information to other women 92% of the time. Guys, 26%. And so we're glad to see this. We always love it when it's 60-40, you know. So that's a good ratio. The decisions, what we're saying here is the decision makers said their piece about Tinley Park. Questions we asked, and I'm not going to go through all 9 questions, but one of them is, where do you take friends and family? And luckily, many people said, we do take them downtown Tinley Park, and they would name restaurants or clubs. But a huge number of people said Chicago, or Orland Park, or Frankfurt. We heard that over and over and over and over. You know? And then we even asked them, so where do you go to hang out besides your house? Where do you go to hang out? And they said, well, someone said area restaurants, Orland Park for all the shopping, Frankfurt's downtown, Chicago. Our whole idea is, how do we reverse that so these people are coming to you? When we asked, what do you think the 3 greatest assets are of Tinley Park besides our people? People mentioned downtown, the schools, the train, your crossroads area, the access. When we asked, what do you think the challenges are besides our people? It was downtown. They love it, but it needs some help, according to your people. Taxes, of course, Cook County, you know. Business development, some people said crime, and we were really concerned about that because Tinley Park, you're going, really? And it's petty crime. So we're not talking about Chicago that we see on the news everywhere else in the country. Mental health site, doing something there. We asked, what do you think needs to be done to get you to spend more time and more money in Tinley Park? More shopping, restaurants, things to do, particularly after working on weekends. Now you know why they're going to Chicago. Orland Park, where the retailers are open late. Then we said, what do you want Tinley Park to be known for? And we heard craft beers, Oak Park Avenue, culinary, sports, farm and country, festivals, events, green living. I mean, it was quite a list. And by the way, it was even more than that. We just tried to boil it down to the top ones. So we had to take every one of those through a feasibility process. Feelings, oh, we're safe, we're clean, we're family friendly, we're close knit, which is really important. It may not be our main brand focus, but it's a feeling we want to portray. Small town charm, a sense of belonging, it's fun. So this is what people said. So we had to take all of that and then figure out who the heck are we even trying to attract. And what was really interesting, you know, you have a population of 58,000 in Tinley Park, that's bright, in Tinley Park. But what was interesting, we took an intersection of Hickory and Oak Park Ave. Within 1 mile of that, you have almost 13,000 people. That's 1 mile of just right downtown. If you go out just 3 miles, you have 80,000. So even though you have 58,000, I say our immediate market is 80,000. Wouldn't it be great if those 80,000 spent more time and more money in Tinley Park, even though some of them are in Orland Park and neighboring communities? Wouldn't that be cool? But you know what? If you go out 5 miles, you got 200,000 people. Wow. And there's the circle. It's not a very readable map that they sent us. But you know, we're not going out very far to get that. So now we know geographically, you know what we're trying to do. And of course, rule number 1 is this is about your residents. Number 1, this is not about tourism. This is about the people that live in the Village of Tinley Park, 58,000 of them. And then can we add on to it, after we've already got those 58,000 spending more time and more money in Tinley Park, how about the additional 22,000 that live 3 mile radius? And then what about the other 120,000 that live between Tinley Park and that 5 mile circle? And then Chicago Southland communities. Wouldn't it be cool if Tinley Park was like the shining star and these other communities would say, wow, we got to head to Tinley Park. Wouldn't that be cool? And then, look at this, 82 million travelers on I-80, 91 million travelers on 57. Now, granted, 82, 91, probably a lot of those are the same people. You know, they're on 80 and then up 57. And a lot of these are commuters. But you know what? If it was 10 million, forget the other 72 million. If it was 10 million, wouldn't it be cool if they would stop in Tinley Park, spend some time, spend some money? That's tourism. So all of these are really tourism. And so we know our areas, and that's the order. First things first. By the way, even in tourism, if you don't hang out at Tinley Park, neither will visitors. They go where you go. If you're going to Navy Pier, Magnificent Mile, Frankfurt, you're doing all that, guess what? So are they. And so that's why that's important. Demographically, this is really catered to the millennial and Generation X and their families. For the first time in U.S. history, there is a generation that's bigger than the baby boomers, and that's the millennials in their 20s, early 30s. There's actually more of them than there are boomers. And by the way, boomers, we got married and had kids in our 20s. Millennials, having their kids in their late 30s, even early 40s. Total different shift. You want millennial generation? You need things to do after 6 o'clock. You need places for people to hang out. You need pedestrian-friendly downtown. And then we thought, so demographically, there's our key market. And by the way, one thing we found is if you cater to the millennials, us boomers are going to follow you whether you like it or not. Music industry, businesses, artists, can you tell where we're headed? And you know, Chicago-based workers, wouldn't it be cool if people that said, well, yeah, I work in a law firm in downtown Chicago, said, boy, we'd like to set up a satellite office here in Tinley Park. Architects, engineers, professional services. Wouldn't it be cool if we could reduce the commute down? And then lifestyle, music-inspired living and atmosphere. Because when we started going through all these, we started to head down that way. What about musicians performing? We really wanted creative people to want to be here and be the focus. And then number 4, so now we know who we're going to attract. We've heard from the locals. What's it going to be? Always do what you're afraid to do. So here are the final brand candidates. Number 1 is Chicago Southland's gathering spot. You know, a real pedestrian-friendly downtown, full of life, full of music. Maybe it would have a program plaza, sidewalk dining, music, entertainment, and you have some of these things. Being a sports capital, you know, ball fields. I mean, you know, there was ideas about the mental health site becoming a big sports complex. And there's, you know, and we started doing research. We found Rockford has already claimed the sports capital for all of Illinois. And they're even marking that in Iowa and the states around them. And then we found other places. And so we said, well, could that be feasible? We haven't counted it out yet. And then kids and family. Can we do a kids and family focus with Whitewater Canyon, the Park District facilities, your schools, which are awesome? Food Mecca came up. I mean, can we promote the restaurants, microbrews, and bring in even more? And then, of course, being a music capital came up, the amphitheater. You know, when you ask people in the Chicago area, so what do you know about Tinley Park? The amphitheater. And of course, they'll say, what was it, world music? Yeah, and people are still stuck with that. Of course, now it's the Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. But they know it because they spend a fortune marketing Tinley Park to bring people to the amphitheater. So how do we get those 15 to 18, 20,000 people downtown before or after? And so when it came down to it, we went through all the feasibility. We started doing a little bit of digging. The team started doing digging, and it was pretty obvious. You're already on the map because of the amphitheater. They do 25 major shows a year. But when we started digging, we came across things like this. Take a look. This is your high school, one of your high school bands. And we were blown away. And by the way, the Silver State Concert Band Festival, they were the 2015 Class AA state champions. And they're awesome. I mean, we were just going, oh my gosh. And by the way, I used to work in the concert and music industry. Jordan played the trumpet in school. Greg sitting right next to him. I haven't introduced our team. I will shortly. He played the trumpet even in the university he went to, Washington State University. I said, there's a shout out for you, Greg. We came from the competing school. And even John back there. I mean, our whole team, everybody said, yeah. And we were all super impressed. So then we found this little video. And this, and I'll show you here in a second, even Central Middle School, look at this. Out of 850 middle schools, it won the 2014. And you know what? Look at this. These are like 11 to 14-year-olds. I mean, we're just blown away. So when you have music that ingrained in your community, why the heck wouldn't you leverage it? You have excellent school programs, and I didn't even get to Andrew, the other high school. You've got the Visual Arts Center that does these gazebo jams. You have Durbin's, Ed and Joe's, Bailey's, Tribes, Holstein's, Siam Marina, Cousins, Intimo. All these people, they all do music. You do music in the plaza during the summer. You do concerts in the park during the summer. You have Rocktoberfest, the Caribbean Block Party, 350 Fest. Even the library does Sunday afternoon concerts. The problem is everybody's doing their own thing. If you just package these things, you're going to be known for music. It's already here. You even have your own community band. I mean, it was like, hello. And by the way, we went online, typed in Music City, Illinois. Nobody came up. Now, we're not trying to outcompete Chicago. They're one of the great music cities in the United States. However, remember, our focus is the 58,000 people that live in Tinley Park and the people in the Chicago Southland area. And so with that, holy smokes. So one of the next things we have to do is create the brand leadership team. Who's going to lead this effort? We had our brand development team that stood up. Now we need to go, who's going to help us champion this? The BLT, like the sandwich. And I love this quote. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed people could change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Margaret Mead. You know what? At the end of the day, it was Walt Disney and a couple of people that put Anaheim on the map and coined that phrase, theme park. It was Robert Mondavi that started Napa Valley. You know, even in a little Branson, Missouri, a town of 10,000 people, that's 49 music theaters. The first guy that had a big name at the time, Boxcar Willie, took a chance, and then Andy Williams and everybody else came. And you know what? That's what it takes, a couple people. When odds are 1 in a million, be that one. And so, the brand leadership team that has to carry this forward must be 100% enthusiastic behind the brand. So if you are just, music is in your soul, and I got to tell you that I worked for Concerts West, which at the time was the largest concert company in the world. I was never a good enough musician, so I went in and did tour management for tours that included Fleetwood Mac, Chicago, Earth, Wind and Fire, you name it. And the big claim to fame was, yeah, that's right, the Saturday Night Fever tour for the Bee Gees. But anybody that has ever been ingrained in the music industry or in music, it never leaves you. Even though that was way early in my career, and I've been doing this ever since, when your brand team said the voice should be music, I just lit up like you couldn't believe, because it's just in our soul. And so if that's going to be important. They are doers, not directors. We don't want people just to come to a meeting. We want them to go sell this to Rotary, to the school boards, to the village board. They need to go out there and help make this thing happen. They have to push it forward. And they'll take some hits. There's going to be some people that say, yeah, you're focusing on music, so what? We have so much more now. I can hear it now. But they're probably going to take a few hits. They will be brand cops. There's a look and feel. You're going to see it. It's coming up. They got to protect that. More than half should have a vested interest in the brand, because people are most willing to champion the cause when they have a vested interest in it. Their paycheck depends on it. Or they have such a passion for it, they will push it forward. And then they're the voice of the brand. And not all of them have to be top-notch speakers, but they're the ones that are going to promote it to their friends, relatives. They are the Pied Pipers. They're not politically divisive in the community. They can be elected officials, but you don't want people that are so divisive that they tend to divide the ranks rather than bring them together. They will be the steering committee for brand-related projects. One of them is you need a wayfinding system. They will push the agenda forward and never take no for an answer. And we hope at least half would be under 40, because that's the future of Tinley Park. And this is my favorite quote of all time in my life's motto: nothing great was ever achieved without enthusiasm. So I always say a true champion is, life should not be a journey to the grave with the intention of arriving safely and pretty in a well-preserved body, but rather to skid in broadside in a cloud of smoke, thoroughly used up, totally worn out, and loudly proclaiming, wow, what a ride. So, if this is you, when we're done in a little bit, you find the people with the badges, you go up to them and say, I want to be part of this. We're taking names. You know, we've had our brand team in Caldwell, Idaho. This is Old Strathcona. I mean, these are the champions. And there's always, if I go back here, Carrie right here, she's the one that's really carrying the torch for everybody else. It is Stephen and Murray have really been carrying the torch. There's always those champions, and we need them. So, where's the product backs up? Remember I said brands are built on product. And it is quite the list they came up with. It's not going to be easy. And it's going to take some time. Number one is wayfinding. If you go to the amphitheater, good luck knowing that Tinley Park even has a downtown. Or if you're staying over at the Hilton Garden Inn on that side, how the heck do you get over to Oak Park Avenue? Because my navigation system, and all navigation systems, will put you on Interstate 80. Instead of driving through on one of those streets where you get to see some beautiful neighborhoods, you get to see your industrial areas, which are nicely done, and many of your great assets. You have no wayfinding. So if you connect the dots, and by the way, navigation systems are not a substitute for wayfinding. A year-round program public plaza, central gathering place. Pedestrian, bike-oriented downtown assets. Connectivity. I mean, recruitment of additional shops, restaurants, music-oriented retailers. Wouldn't it be cool? You know what? Vinyl record stores are coming back. Wouldn't that be cool? Guitar shop, recording studio. I mean, wouldn't it be great if you had that here? You know, downtown Wi-Fi, music piped through downtown, street performers, even additional indoor venues. Musical, interactive public art. I'll show you a couple examples. Maybe a shuttle that would actually shuttle people to and from the amphitheater and the convention center. Who knows? You know, and we'll take these, bite them off, you know, and it'll take a while to get all this. Reorchestrating some of the business mix in your downtown so it's really retail, food, music oriented. You know, you're never going to go to any successful mall and find, no offense, law offices, laundromats, and insurance companies. They know they have to have like businesses grouped together. Now, we do want law offices. We want all those things in downtown. But we need to keep them grouped together, neighborhood retail versus destination retail. These are just a few of the key items. Speaking of keys, wouldn't it be cool if you had crosswalks like that in downtown Tinley Park? Isn't that awesome? You know, I love it. And, you know, wouldn't it be cool if you go to any local park and you have interactive music? So it's everywhere you go. You know, wouldn't it be cool if you had a place downtown that was covered where you had a grand piano? People would just come up and play it. I mean, in Denver, 16th Street, they have more than a dozen pianos. They cover them during the winter, but people are out there playing them. This thing here is called a hydraulophone. And what's really cool, it's got water, and when you put your fingers over the water, it changes the water level in these, and it plays music. I mean, it's really cool. Think how fun this could be. You know, and when we talk about that year-round program plaza, I'm going to give you just one example. I could give you 100, but I'm going to give you one. This is Main Street Square in Rapid City, South Dakota. They had this parking lot. I said, turn this parking lot into a plaza. They lost 60 parking spaces. And this was a Sears building that was all but dead. I mean, pigeons were living in it, really. And so he said, turn that into a public plaza. And they did. There's that Sears building. It's all full of restaurants and shops now. There's their plaza right there. They've got like a 1,500 square foot splash pad. They've got this, they've got this here. And you know what? That splash pad runs 120 days a year. And in the winter, there's another 120 days a year. That's 8,000 square feet. That's bigger than Rockefeller Center. They make $130,000 a year renting ice skates. And they have to dole them out because it gets too crowded. If you just did the splash pad, and by the way, they wish their splash pad was that size. If you have water, interactive water happening 120 days a year, and ice, that's 240 days a year activity in downtown Tinley Park. Where people go, retailers follow. So if you create this and people start hanging out here, you know what? We ran into a whole lot of people that drive from here to Rosemont because they have that. And you're even going to do better than that. Mayor?
Well, we've got the governor with us. Governor Rauner is joining the...
Hi. Hey, I'm sorry to interrupt. This is awesome. I don't want to interrupt this. This is a wonderful thing. But I was just next door here in the convention center. I'm in Tinley Park a lot. This is a great community. But you know what? I want to say thank you. Thank you for your dedication to making your community better and growing the economy and creating more opportunities for everybody. I am a big advocate for tourism, visitors, conventions, business meetings, and promoting the great quality of life and the many wonderful things we can do here in Tinley Park and around the great state of Illinois. And I love your strategy I was just hearing about in terms of going after music and really branding Tinley Park and raising your profile. It's awesome. I'm all in for that. Corey Jobe, our Illinois State Director of Tourism, I know is a big fan of what you're doing, and we're going to be supporting you in every way we can. Thank you for your dedication to making your community better and improving the quality of life for everybody in Tinley Park and all over the state of Illinois. I wanted to say thank you. God bless you. You have some good discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor.
We like endorsements like that. Thank you, Governor. Really appreciate it. That's awesome. Okay, so we can stop right now. It's done. You just got to go build it now, and the pressure is on. I mean, what this did. Yeah. So, okay, we'll do the. There we go. We're working on the lights there. And so, what's really cool about Rapid City is, because I didn't want to spend a whole bunch of time on it, it changed everything. They had like vacancies downtown, 30% vacancies. I mean, it really struggled. By the way, they even do movies on the square every Monday night. Average attendance is 3,500. Look what somebody wrote. I grew up in Rapid City. It was never as cool as it is now. Within 3 years of when they built their Main Street Square, the average age of a person buying a home dropped 12 years. Their youth were coming back. So wouldn't it be cool in Tinley Park if you were home to Harmony Square? Now, this name could change, and we are offering the naming rights right now. We'll start the bidding no, I'm just kidding. But wouldn't it be cool if downtown Tinley Park, we had something like this? This is in Caldwell, Idaho, and they're already doing the architectural engineering. This was an empty lot. There was an actual street right here. They're closing off this street. This here's about 10,000 square feet. It steps down there's 2 steps from here down into that, where people can grab lunch and sit there and watch their kids playing in a 7,500 square foot water feature splash pad. And by the way, it's all flush mounted fountains. So you can shut off the water. You can fill this whole thing full of tables or chairs and do concerts on the square. You could fill it all full of tables and chairs, do the Taste of Tinley Park. You could, and then you have room for vendor booths. You could do so many kinds of events. Even the base around the trees are all seating surfaces. And so this is what's happening all around. You know what? This has worked in Europe for centuries. And finally, in the United States, we're coming to our senses that we want gathering places for our local residents. You know, once again, splash pad, you can shut it off. And by the way, if I go to either one of these in the winter, this whole thing is an ice rink, 10,000 square feet. How cool is that? I mean, this is what makes it great. Can you imagine 5 days a week during the summer months, you do yoga on the square or exercise classes? Wouldn't this be great if you've got local bands and entertainers say, we want to set up shop and do shows after school on Thursday? And yeah, we know Chicago weather. Yours may be covered with kind of a tensile structure covering, because we're familiar with Chicago weather. All of us are from Seattle, we get it. And so we may have that, because there can't be a day when you say, oh, we can't go there because the weather's not cooperating. So we've even discussed that. Doing the Taste of Tinley Park. I mean, doing all these kinds of events. It gives you a place to do that. And by the way, plazas are ringed with commerce. They're not out in the park. They're in the central. Town's built around piazzas. So there's commerce on 2 or 3 sides. And we've got 3 or 4 locations in downtown. We'd like to see it happen. And, you know, it requires some private property, so I can't say, well, here's the 4 sites. We don't even know. But we're looking. Doing these kinds of things is so important. And I want to take just a minute to talk about downtowns. Because when it comes to tourism, We might come here for things in this convention. Right now, I think you have the Hispanic, Daniel. State Employee Association. They are here, the governor's here. Wouldn't it be cool if when they're done, they said, let's head downtown Tinley Park. Because no matter why they come, this is their #1 activity. And guess what? That's where 80% of their spending takes place. Why do you think Disney put downtown Disney outside each of its parks to get that 80%? You should be in the tourism game. They're already here. #2, the heart and soul of any community besides its people is its downtown. Even, and by the way, if you don't hang out in your downtown, neither will visitors. And so you got to bring downtown to life. And you know what? Downtowns are back and in a big way. You know, the last suburban mall was built in the United States 23 years ago. 23 years ago. People want downtowns. We're back to Petula Clark. How many of you remember the song Downtown? Oh, you took the bait and dated yourselves. The future of downtowns is where we go after work on weekends. That's important. We're going to go hang out in the downtowns that are open after 6. That's where you can beat the Frankfurts. And many other towns. And I don't want to pick on Frankfurt because it's awesome. I mean, you love it, you go there. But that's the future. And guess what? That's when music takes place. Here's why. We are entering the age of third places. The first place, I like the light show. And first place is the place we live. It's our home. The second place is the place we work. And the third place is the place we go to hang out, spend time. Starbucks built an entire brand out of creating third places. And when you start doing sidewalk cafes that are on the plaza, on the square, this is the future. So to make downtown work, you need to get people there 250 days a year. And I just showed you, Splash Pad and Ice is 240 of those days. Because you know what? Right now, you as a village do like 50 days worth of entertainment and stuff down. You're 200 days short of getting merchants to go down there. More merchants. And so that's what you have to do. And by the way, even though you just saw a lot about downtown, this brand is for all of Tinley Park. That's just the nucleus. And that's really important. In Bellevue, Washington, think of the cool things you do. From Thanksgiving to Christmas Eve, they do a thing called Snowflake Lane. It goes from 7 o'clock p.m. to 7:20. Just 20 minutes. And they've got a drum corps that goes up and down. They close off their main street. It'd be like you closing off Oak Park. And they do this incredible show. 20 minutes every day for 30 days. Guess what? 300,000 people attend that 20 minutes each year. And they're driving 30, 40, 50 minutes for that 20 minutes. And you know what they do? As soon as they're done, they're eating, shopping, and spending time in your downtown. So, now that we know where we're headed, what's the brand promise? What are we promising people? And that's what it is. It's an expectation, and boy, you better deliver on it. And the trick is, you either have to be different or better. And we think you could be better. And this is Tinley Park's brand promise. It's very simple. Music is in the DNA of everything we do. This is not marketing text. That's not a slogan. That's your mission statement. So, if the village says, we're going to develop a new park, the first thing we say, how does music play into it? If a new restaurant's coming into downtown, they should say, I want to put a new restaurant downtown Tinley Park. How do I get music into it? You know, oh, we need to repaint our sidewalks. How can we make them like those piano keys? In everything you do, schools. You know what? I think that you start putting these schools out there, hold them on a pedestal where they deserve to be, you will have families coming from all over the Midwest where they have kids where their life is around music will say, well, we want to move to Tinley Park because that is what my kids' passion is. All of a sudden, Tinley Park's going to be known for something other than a nice bedroom community. You need to make this in the DNA of everything you do. As businesses, as local organizations, You know, we were talking to Daniel here that runs the convention. I said, wouldn't it be cool if every time there's a convention that people walk in and you have a guitarist or a musician out there? And he says, yeah, we can do that. You go to Austin, Texas, you go to the airport, they're going to have 3 musical acts all day, every day. So wouldn't that be cool? And so that's what it's about. Then the look and feel. Okay, you're finally getting there. But you know, you don't start with a logo. This is where logos are. It's number 8 out of 13, not number 1. And we love Leonardo da Vinci, who said, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. That was Steve Jobs' mantra at Apple. And so we said, these are just themes, words. You know, there's so many musical words, you know, where the cadence of life is music, Tinley Park, music to my ears, you know, the perfect pitch. I mean, these are all these, the harmony that brings all people together is music. And boy, if there's ever a common cause that you need in Chicago, in this greater area, it's that. Where words fail, music speaks. Love that. You know, we even sat there and say, you know, music and life in perfect harmony. I mean, these were just all fun things that you could use. And I'm going to show you some of them. We didn't use all of these. But these are just kind of the things that you could portray out there. And so I'm going to show you some concepts. What you need to understand about these is that we use some stock photos. So you said, well, that was Tinley Park. Yeah, we use stock photos. What you're going to see are not ads. We were trying to show you the feeling we hope to portray. And there's a lot of work to do. That's what I said. We're not rolling anything out. When it comes to print marketing, wouldn't it be cool if this was a look and feel? And I'll read this to you. Perhaps there's nothing on earth that carries the emotional power of music. And in every stage of life, music is at the core. From infant lullabies, birthday celebrations, that first school dance to walking down the aisle, music sets the rhythm of life. It's your soundtrack. After all, there is no dance without music. Just 30 minutes south of Chicago, you'll find a place where music is at the core of everything they do. At stunning Harmony Square, see, it's already a done deal. Downtown, in nearly a dozen clubs and eateries, at one of Illinois' biggest amphitheaters, and at award-winning local schools with world-class music programs. Whatever your musical tastes are, you'll find it here year-round. By the way, we're not trying to be country jazz. We want to be music. And where is this place? Beautiful Tinley Park. Isn't it time you amplified your life? That's what this is about. You know, this one here isn't even a concept, but, you know, music is one of life's greatest joys. It begins with mom singing lullabies to her unborn child, and the last serenade is as we're laid to rest. Where words fail, music speaks. It's the cadence of life and the harmony that brings all people together. From outstanding school music programs to seasoned performers, Tinley Park promotes and fosters the power of music to change lives. Isn't it time to change the tempo of your life? Tinley Park will be music to your ears. That is the power of music in your brand. And nobody in the Midwest has claimed it. Brands are about who claims it first. You claimed it. Chicago hasn't even claimed it. And we're not trying to outcompete Chicago. You know, here's one more. And this will be the last one I read. The universal language that inspires the best in all of us, regardless of age, race, gender, or disability, is the incredible power of music. It's a playground that welcomes all, and those who play are celebrated. The people of Tinley Park, just 30 minutes south of Chicago, understand the lasting power of music, have made it a key priority in nearly everything they do. Here you'll find award-winning musical programs in the local schools, music on stages as small as street corners to the big stage at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater, and at a dozen clubs and eateries. And nearly every day you'll find music, water, and light shows at Harmony Square in downtown Tinley Park. Yes, we have the traditional playgrounds, but the best playground of all is the stage that changes lives and brings us together. You'll find that temple in Tinley Park. Come join us and amplify your life in a new kind of playground. And so when you do messaging like this, you're going to get to people, and you know what's fascinating is you are becoming more diverse. And this celebrates that. You know, so concepts might look like this. We love this: unalienable rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of great music. You know, love it. Music is not what we do, it's who we are. You know, look at this one: the perfect ingredients for love. An all smiles atmosphere, a stunning ice rink, incredible music, the perfect moment. And where will you find these ingredients? At the stunning Harmony Square in beautiful Tinley Park. So other things that will be part of this effort will be promoting the very best, your top restaurants, your top retail shops, your top activities, particularly those that focus on music. And then there's also attracting investment and jobs. You know, things like, wouldn't it be cool? And look at, music is not what we do, it's who we are. Works for both you as a person who lives here. It also works for attracting business. Wouldn't it be cool if we could bring these stores and retailers in? And you know what? If you ever talk to Dennis that owns Cousins, they already have, he has sound systems that are going all over the world. He's got sound systems in China right now. Oh, I gotta say it right. China. Okay, Donald Trump jokes, don't, yeah, okay. So anyway, but he did this. I mean, he even, you know, the Xbox briefing, he even, when Apple, Tim Cook and Apple rolled out iOS 10 just a few weeks ago, they provided the sound from Tinley Park. This is economic development. You know, so to help promote additional, we want you to create a community profile that changes every year, that real estates have to promote Tinley Park, that site selectors have. This is a community profile. And then your top 10 opportunities. When it comes to recruiting business investment in, what are the top 10 that you could use to really get this thing going? So those are the 3 brochures: the best of, your community profile, and your opportunities. So with that as a background, next up is developing action. Branding, what is it you want to be known for? We nailed it. We really did. Development, where's the product that backs it up? How do we tell the world? And to-do list. You know what? We don't even believe in strategic plans anymore. No offense. Action plans. Strategies, goals, objectives should take no more than 3 pages. An action plan is a to-do list. It's a description of the recommendation. Who's charged with implementation? What's it going to cost to implement? Where's the money going to come from? When would it be done? And what's the rationale for doing it? And that's what's going to take place over the next 90 days, putting that together. And by the way, we don't believe in plans that are 300 pages thick and 280 pages or a bunch of stuff in the back. People read the executive summary and they're done. Brevity is key. We want like 2 recommendations per page. Get to it. And you know what's really cool about this brand, and one of the key things that we said is, even, wouldn't it be great if Tinley Park Park District was singing out of the same hymnal, get it? Okay, pun intended, as the Village? Wouldn't it be great if the Chamber was doing the same thing as the Village? Wouldn't it be great if your Main Street Commission was doing the same thing? See what I mean? So even Public Works, Parks, all of these different people, wouldn't it be great when you know, because this is the typical economic development express, really cruising along, isn't it? That's typical. You know? Wouldn't it be great when you do this? I left out the convention center, you know, when you do this, you're going to go from this to this, and that is when you win. You'll be working out of the same plan together. And you are far more effective as one loud voice than a whole bunch of little silos. And number 10, you have to make something happen. Wouldn't it be cool if you had pole banners like these all over downtown? I mean, just colorful, vibrant, just, it's obvious what you're about the second we get off a freeway exit. You know, and we just want to let you know that we actually hung the first 2 this morning. Just kidding. We wish. Wouldn't it be cool if your business cards look like this? Fun, vibrant. You stand for something. You know, we know you don't have subways, but I want to show you about how to make it fun. This took place in Sweden. Take a look at this. Look at that. Changed their mind. You gotta have fun. We went around, our whole team, when we met yesterday, went around. And we thought, wouldn't it be cool if you did radio broadcasts of Tinley music events, Tinley Park, battle of the high school bands. I mean, when you have a plaza, you have a place to host socializings. A Tinley Park Blues Festival, Tinley's Got Talent, drum circles. I mean, I couldn't even fit them all in. Jam sessions, karaoke nights, songwriters retreats and festivals, ukulele gatherings. Believe it or not, they're coming back. How many of you remember Tiny Tim? Oh, you fell for it again! Dance nights on the square, piped-in music throughout downtown, the convention. There are musicians at every convention, theme nights, decades, do a 60s weekend, a 70s weekend, an 80s weekend. 80s would be Big Hair, 70s would be disco, 60s would be Beatles, Stones. And then music studio session. Wouldn't it be cool if you had a recording studio where lay people could go in and actually do that? They actually could go in and use the studio, and there might be even karaoke, but they get the recording. I mean, fun stuff you could do. There should be buskers, street performers. We need to create places for them downtown. Places where they can come. This is in Asheville, North Carolina, which it just works. Wouldn't it be cool if your public art would be music focused? That's my wife, Jane. She even got caught up into the act. And having these kinds of things downtown would be just awesome. You notice all of this is non-amplified music. It's who you are. So make something happen. Keep the energy high and don't fold to the naysayers. Forget all the reasons why something may not work. You only need to find one good reason why it will. And you cannot fold to the cavers. You know what cavers are? There it is. Citizens against virtually everything. There's probably none in Tinley Park, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. And by the way, for our champions, here's your quote. A diamond is merely a lump of coal that did well under pressure. Because you know what? We're asking your village trustees to make some bold moves. They're not cheap. It takes a lot of guts to do this. You have a pretty conservative board, and rightfully so. We just came out of a recession. But we're asking them, they need your support to help push them forward. We've talked to many of them, and they really want to do this. But they need your support. And so, number 12, you got to tell the world. We want you to do posters that you would just hang up. Wouldn't it be cool if there's posters in your schools, in Village Hall, in the convention center, in restaurants, Chamber of Commerce office, that would just be like this, just simply reminding people this is what you're about. So that anybody that goes to school here, comes from convention here, knows that you are amplifying people's lives. Poster like this, Life Amplified. Even that, it never grows old. So doing a series of posters and framing them, putting them around so that it's obvious what Tinley Park stands for and is for. Because brands have to be more than just skin deep. We want you to do the coolest wayfinding signs. These are directional signs. We want you to do the coolest wayfinding signs anywhere in the United States, and they would look like that. Wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't that be cool? You know what we even thought? Wouldn't it be cool if these, the little frets, if they actually turned? Or even were loose so they would rotate in the wind. They could whistle and make music. Wouldn't that be cool? It would be obvious what you're about. That's how you have fun with a brand, is that. You know, wouldn't it be cool if some of the village vehicles look like that? When you leave today, you're going to see the convention center has a shuttle van out there. And Daniel's right back there, and I'm sure he's going to paint it next week. I'm just kidding. By the way, you can't just go out there tomorrow and do all of this stuff. People are going to come here and say, well, where are those street for? Where is all this stuff? So you have some time. You've got the foundation. You need to promote that foundation. But it's going to be a while, but we can't wait for it to look like that. You know, wouldn't it be great if you're coming down the freeway and you see something like this? I took this in Nova Scotia. By the way, if you want to know what size that is, there's my wife Jane at the base of it. Wouldn't that be cool? Or even your gateway signs looking like that. And you might have one that's a guitar, one that's a saxophone. Wouldn't that be cool? And you know what? We can't wait for the logo gear to come out. You know, pins like that, guitar cases like that. You know, we got to have more cowbell. Right? You know, even coasters like that. I mean, even guitar straps. You're going to own it. Logo gear like that. We want stickers on the back of everybody's car, on their guitar cases, on their school books. Okay, not on the school book. But wouldn't it be cool? You know, you come to a convention and the lanyards for badges, Tinley Park, music, life amplified. And there's no reason why somebody can't come here to this convention today at a job fair and everything, and they're here to amplify their life. Whether it's getting a job, it doesn't always have to be music. You know, wouldn't it be cool if you even have guitar picks? Life amplified. Even cool, we love this. I love this little treble clef with the guitar. You know, these kinds of cool things. Wouldn't this be fun? Even music stands. So when kids have music stands, we just put a decal over all of them. You know, logo gear like this. And here's probably our favorite one. When you're coming down Interstate 80, wouldn't it be cool for those 80 million people to see that? By the way, here's the top of a truck. This is big. Wouldn't that be cool? I mean, I just think that'd be the coolest thing ever. So you got some work to do. Anybody here from Department of Transportation? But by the way, cities around the country have done this. Not this, but done similar types of things. And finally, the last one, that plan that you do, you revisit every month. This is a plan that sits on your desk, not on a shelf, because it's in chronological order. Here's this, and so there'll be competition. Chamber, how you doing on yours? Town, village, how you doing on your list? I mean, there's actually peer pressure to make stuff happen. You know, at the end of the day, what you have in Tinley Park is absolutely fantastic. We've worked all over the Midwest. We've worked in 60 cities in Wisconsin, all over Iowa. We just got done working in Michigan City, Indiana, where we've worked in 55 cities. And we've worked in Ottawa. We've worked in down south in Mount Vernon. By the way, they also thought they were the crossroads destination. We found about 50 of those in Illinois. We've worked in Rochelle, you know, Rockford, all these places. But what you have with things like this that put you on the map, what you have down at Odyssey, what you have here, how many towns of 58,000 people have a convention center like this? And this is world class. But you know, people do conventions where there's something to do at 5 o'clock. When they're done with the convention day, we don't want to go back to our hotel and twiddle our thumbs. We want things to do. You will just make this place sing, and they do a great job. Wouldn't it be cool if they said, I'm sorry, we have to turn you down, we're way booked up. I mean, the water park, your recreational facilities, even your libraries. I mean, when you think about all the things you have, the great neighborhoods, this is just how you take that to a whole new level. So here's to the very bright musical future of incredible Tinley Park. Thank you. So our team is here. You'll see them wearing badges. I want you to talk to them. I told them never to say, "What do you think?" We want them to say, "Isn't this cool?" And if you want to talk to them, they did this. They put the effort in here. We were just the facilitators, and we think it is an awesome. We can't wait to show this everywhere we go, and really show how Tinley Park put themselves on the map as one of the best places in the entire state of Illinois, if not the Midwest. So thanks again very much, and thank you, Mayor.
Roger, I can't thank you and your team enough, because this has really opened our eyes. This is something that I could not have conceived of on my own, and certainly I think one that, we get a lot of criticism for doing a lot of things, using consultants in particular, but I'll tell you what, this was not something that you could have dreamt up sitting in a room by yourselves. This is a certain amount of creativity and energy that I think is going to take this village for years, and I'm couldn't be more grateful, couldn't be more pleased with the product, and now comes the hard part, now comes the work. Now we've got to really make it happen, and I think we've got some great things. We've got an I-80 bridge redo that's coming up. What you saw up there could be done. We've got ourselves a plaza. It's budgeted. In downtown, it's done. So we've got a board that maybe has different opinions about different things, but making Tinley Park great is certainly one that we have in common. And I will work with this board, I will work with you all to take this to the next level. And with your help, we'll get there. So, Roger, thank you again. And let the work begin. Thank you.